Have you ever had that feeling like you're just going through the motions of life, but you're not really truly living it? You know, like you wake up, go to work, watch some Netflix, rinse and repeat. It's not that life's bad, but it's like there's this missing piece. Kind of like you're on autopilot, just getting by. But what if I told you there's a concept out there, a simple idea that could change all of that? Something that's been around for centuries and is believed to be the secret to living a long, fulfilled life with tons of energy and excitement every single day. It's called Ikigai. People in Japan, especially in places like Okinawa, which has one of the highest concentrations of centenarians, meaning people who live over 100, have been living by this idea for generations. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what Ikigai is, what are the main 4 pillars, and how can you find your own Ikigai so you can start living long, happy, fulfilling life. Let's break it down. Ikigai is like a sweet spot where 4 areas of your life intersect. Imagine this big, perfect Venn diagram. So in one circle, you have what you love, the things that light you up, the stuff you could do for hours without feeling bored. In another circle, you have what you're good at, those things you've honed skills in, the talents that come naturally to you. Then there's what the world needs. This could be solving a problem or contributing to a cause, making a difference in the world. And last but definitely not least, you've got what you can be paid for. Because hey, we all gotta make a living, right? When these 4 things align, you find your Ikigai. Let's take my friend Jake, for example. He's a huge fan of photography. Like if you ask him about his hobby, his face lights up. He could talk about cameras for hours. But for a long time, he didn't see how his love for photography could fit into the whole life purpose thing. He was stuck in a job he didn't love, just scraping by. But one day, after a chat about Ikigai, he started thinking about how photography could be his Ikigai. He loved it, he was good at it, and there was a market for it. So he started doing side gigs, taking photos for events, and guess what? He now runs a small but successful photography business and loves what he does. He found his Ikigai. And honestly, this could change how you think about everything. You don't need to drop everything and go on some grand soul-searching journey in the Himalayas. So, now that we've got Ikigai out in the open, I want you to keep this question in mind as we move through the rest of this video. What would your life look like if you started living with Ikigai? Now, before we break down all the 4 pillars, let's talk about something really cool. Ikigai isn't just about feeling good. It's about living longer and living better. Sounds pretty amazing, right? In Okinawa, they don't just live long, they live well. They're active, mentally sharp, and they're not spending their old age sitting around watching TV. They have purpose. Every single day, they wake up with a reason to live. And it's not just Okinawa. There are other places in the world called the Blue Zones, where people live longer, healthier lives than the average person. Places like Sardinia in Italy, Nicoya in Costa Rica, and Ikaria in Greece. They wake up every day knowing they have something to look forward to, whether it's helping others, working on a craft, or simply having deep, meaningful relationships. Now, I'm not saying that Ikigai is a magic pill. There are plenty of factors that contribute to a long life, like genetics, lifestyle, and even a little bit of luck. But having a purpose is one of the biggest contributors to longevity. It's that drive that keeps you moving, growing, and evolving, no matter your age. Alright, by now you've got a pretty good idea of what Ikigai is, what are the 4 pillars, and why it's so powerful for living a long, happy life. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you actually find your own Ikigai? I get it. This is not some simple 3-step process. Finding your Ikigai is more like a journey, a discovery that takes time and some deep thinking. But trust me, it's so worth it. So, here we go. I'll break it down in a way that's easy to follow, and I'll even share a bit about my own experience with it. Number 1, what you love. The first step is simple, but it's not always easy. What do you love to do? Think about the things that make you feel most alive. Maybe it's writing, dancing, gardening, helping people, or even building things with your hands. If you're having trouble figuring this part out, think back to your childhood. What did you get lost in for hours? What did you love doing without anyone telling you to do it? The foundation of Ikigai is built on your passion. What lights you up? What makes you excited to get out of bed in the morning? It's the stuff you can do for hours and still feel energized. For me, one of the things I absolutely love is storytelling. I could talk about stories, whether it's movies, books, or just life, for hours without even noticing the time pass. Now, take a second and think about it. Ask yourself, what could you talk about for hours without getting bored? What makes you feel alive? Whatever it is, that's your passion, and it's the first key to unlocking your Ikigai. Number 2, what you're good at. Okay, so now that you've got your passion, the next step is to think about what you're actually good at. What comes naturally to you? Here's the thing, don't downplay your talents. Sometimes we're so used to being good at something that we don't even realize it's a special skill. You might be really good at organizing, solving problems, teaching people, or making others laugh. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Think about it this way. When you're with friends or colleagues, what do they always ask you for help with? What do people compliment you on? That's often a clue to your talent. So ask yourself, what are people always coming to you for? What do you find easy that others struggle with? Whatever it is, that's the second pillar, what you're good at. And if you haven't figured it out yet, that's okay too. Sometimes you discover it along the way. Number 3, what the world needs. Now, this part is about looking outward. What does the world need that you can contribute to? This is about identifying a need, a problem, or a challenge that you can help solve with your talents and passions. Let's go back to Jake, the photographer I told you about earlier. When Jake realized his passion for photography could become his career, he didn't just think about making money. He started asking, what does the world need? That's when he realized that people wanted more than just photos. They wanted memories. They wanted a photographer who could capture the essence of their special moments, whether it was a wedding, a graduation, or a family reunion. You don't have to change the world in some huge dramatic way. It could be something small like helping people with their health, bringing joy to people with art, or simply making people's days a little easier. So, what does the world need that you can provide? Maybe it's a service, a product, or just your time and energy. So take a moment to reflect. What does the world need? Number 4, what you can be paid for. Now that you've figured out what you love, what you're good at, and what the world needs, the last step is finding a way to make it sustainable. Because we all need to eat, right? So the final pillar is about figuring out how to turn your passion, skills, and contribution into something that can actually support you financially. It's about finding that sweet spot where you can make a living doing what you love and doing it well. Jake, again, is a great example. He turned his love for photography into a profitable career by doing what he was good at and what the world needed. Now he's making a solid income doing something he loves. It doesn't have to be a 9-to-5 gig either. For some people, it's starting a small business, offering a service, or freelancing. For others, it could be something more traditional, like being a teacher, an artist, or even a consultant. So what could you get paid for? So start brainstorming. How could you turn what you love and are good at into a career or side hustle? The key is to think about ways to create value for others and find a way to make a living doing it. The possibilities are endless. When all of these 4 pillars align, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for, you've found your Ikigai. Let's say you're not quite there yet. That's okay. If you're feeling stuck, don't worry. Sometimes it takes a little trial and error. Start small. Pick one of the pillars and explore it. If you're not sure what you love yet, try new things. If you're not sure how to get paid for something, look into ways people are already turning similar passions into income. The important thing is to get started. Now I get it. This can feel a little overwhelming. Finding your Ikigai isn't something you're just going to magically uncover overnight. It's a process. Take the first step, and the rest will follow. So go ahead, start small, be consistent, and remember, the beauty of Ikigai is that it's all about the journey, not just the destination.